You've watched your dog spin in maddening circles before bed, devour grass like it's forgotten it's a carnivore, and shove its nose into a stranger's crotch without a single moment of hesitation. You've laughed, cringed, and wondered, what on earth is going on inside that head? Today we're cracking open the code. 14 deeply fascinating explanations for your dog's strangest behaviors, finally revealed. First, why does your dog walk in circles before lying down? Your dog has located the most comfortable spot on the couch, the perfect patch, and instead of simply collapsing into it, it begins circling 3 times, 5 times, sometimes a bizarre 10 rotations before finally settling. To you, it looks like a glitch. To evolution, it is a masterpiece. This ritual is a direct echo from the wild. Long before dogs had cushions and climate control, their ancestors slept under open skies with no shelter, circling flattened tall grass into a warm, insulated nest and protected them from the bite of wind. Each revolution wasn't just comfort-seeking, it was a survival scan. The circular motion flushed out snakes, scorpions, insects, and small rodents coiled silently in the undergrowth. It was a threat assessment performed before surrendering to the vulnerability of sleep. The spin also served as a wind compass. By detecting the direction of airflow, the dog would position its nose to face any approaching danger, a biological early warning system. Your living room sofa poses absolutely no such threat, of course. But thousands of years of survival, programming cannot be erased by a few generations of couch privileges. The ancient operating system still boots up every single night. And how many circles? That tends to reflect emotional state. The more anxious or exhausted the dog, the longer the ritual. Second, why do dogs eat grass and then vomit? The moment your dog starts grazing like a miniature cow, most owners leap to the same panicked conclusion: something is terribly wrong. But the science tells a strikingly different story. For decades, veterinarians assumed grass eating was a desperate bid to relieve stomach distress. Modern research dismantled that theory completely. Only 25% of dogs actually vomit after eating grass. For the vast majority, it is simply a natural instinctive feeding behavior, hardwired from their wild ancestry. In the wild, canines consumed entire prey, stomach contents and all, which supplied a rich source of plant fiber and trace minerals entirely absent from today's processed dry kibble. Grass is the closest substitute available. There's also nutritional logic at play. Grass contains folic acid, critical for healthy blood cell formation. Some dogs do deliberately eat grass to trigger vomiting, selecting tougher, broader blades specifically because they irritate the stomach lining. But for most dogs, they simply enjoy the taste. Fresh spring shoots in particular carry an irresistible appeal after the long gray monotony of winter. The only genuine danger here is treated grass. If your lawn has been sprayed with pesticides or fertilizer, keep them away from. Why do dogs bury bones and toys? You present your dog with a magnificent bone. It sniffs it with unmistakable enthusiasm, and then, inexplicably, marches off to bury it in the corner of the yard. No eating, no enjoyment, just bury. When the food bowl is always full and hunger isn't a factor, why does this make any sense? This behavior is called caching, and it originates from an era when the next meal was never guaranteed. Wolves and wild canids hunted when opportunity allowed and starved when it. Burying surplus food solved a critical problem. It slowed decomposition, kept the scent concealed from scavengers, and created a personal pantry that could be revisited during lean times. Underground storage was refrigeration before refrigerators existed. The instinct has outlasted its necessity entirely. A 2017 behavioral study from the University of Florida demonstrated that even well-fed domestic dogs displayed caching behavior when presented with high-value items, confirming that the reflex fires automatically, not because of hunger, but because of genetics. Interestingly, dogs are rather poor at remembering where they've buried things. Their spatial memory for hidden objects is far weaker than a squirrel's. Terriers and hounds are especially prone to this behavior, bred historically to pursue prey, underground, and apartment. They improvise magnificently, burying treats beneath sofa cushions and under pillows, faithfully performing the same ancient rite with entirely modern. Fourth, why do dogs chase their own A puppy notices something moving behind it, locks on, enters full tornado mode trying to. Pure comedy. But the causes behind this behavior span a spectrum from completely harmless to something that warrants a veterinary conversation. In Noah, puppies' tail chasing is normal exploration. Their brains are still mapping their own bodies, and they genuinely don't yet understand that the thing they're chasing is. In older dogs, it usually signals boredom, a mind without enough stimulation inventing its own entertainment. Some dogs have also learned something dangerous. Their owners laugh, grab their phones, start recording, and immediately reward the behavior with exactly the attention the dog wanted. But compulsive tail chasing in adult dogs can indicate. A 2012 study published in Applied Animal Behavior Science found that chronic tail chasing can mirror human OCD, driven by anxiety, stress, or genetic predisposition, particularly in bulls. It can also signal fleas, skin allergies, inflamed anal glands, or underlying neurological. If the spinning becomes daily or obsessive, a veterinarian needs to be. The behavior that looks like a joke can sometimes be. Fifth, why does your dog howl when it hears a siren? An ambulance screams past your street. Your dog lifts its head, locks its jaw open, and releases a long, mournful howl that perfectly tracks the siren's rising and fall. You joke about its terrible singing, but what's actually happening is ancient and howling is the long-distance communication system wolves evolved to bridge gaps of up to 6 miles, roughly 10. Emergency sirens, particularly in the 450-750 Hz range, share an almost identical acoustic signature with. A 2020 analysis published in the Journal of Veterinary Behavior confirmed the heavy overlap between ambulance siren frequencies and the natural howling range of both wolves and domestic. Your dog isn't annoyed by the sound. It isn't trying to silence it. It believes, genuinely and completely, that it is hearing a pack member calling from somewhere beyond the horizon, and it is answering. Some breeds are dramatically more vocal than others. Huskies, Malamutes, and Beagles retain the most wolf-like voice. What's genuinely fascinating is that dogs typically avoid matching the siren's exact pitch. Just like wolves in a pack, where each member holds a unique note to create layered harmonic depth, your dog instinctively selects a slightly different. Even in this, the pack instinct is still operating. Why do dogs roll on their backs in grass or mud? You spent considerable time, effort, and fragrant shampoo getting your dog clean and beautiful. You step outside, and within 30 seconds your dog has located the most horrifying patch of filth available and is wriggling through it with the ecstatic expression of someone. This is not sabotage. It is. Wild canines roll in strong. Earthy odors before a hunt. Mud, animal carcasses, rotting vegetation, all of it serves the same purpose. Masking their own scent so prey cannot detect them. Artificial fragrances, however pleasant to humans, register to a dog's nose as loud, unnatural, and deeply alarming. A 2016 study in chemical senses found that many commercial pet shampoos contain scent compounds that dogs perceive as genuinely foreign, triggering immediate scent-masking behavior the moment grooming is finished. Your dog isn't undoing your hard work out of spite. It's desperately trying to smell like the. But rolling serves multiple purposes simultaneously. It scratches areas that pause and cool, damp earth regulates body temperatures. The pressure against the back releases physical tension in the same way a human stretches after sitting. And emotionally, rolling is often the purest possible expression of joy. Unbridled freedom. The canine equivalent of jumping up around when something. Why do dogs sniff each other? Two dogs encounter walk. Before any other acknowledgement, before eye contact, before any physical play, each immediately thrusts its nose under the other's tail with complete and their owners look away, mortified, smiling apologetically. To dogs, this is not embarrassing. It is the most efficient information exchange in the animal kingdom. Beneath the tail sit the anal glands, which secrete a chemical profile as individual as a fingerprint. From a single 3-second sniff, a dog extracts the other animal's gender, approximate age, health status, emotional state, reproductive condition, social rank, and recent diet. It is reading a complete biography before a single moment of interaction. Dogs possess a specialized structure called the vomeronasal organ, or Jacobson's organ. that decodes scent-based chemical signals with staggering sensitivity. A landmark study from the University of Colorado found that a dog's ability to process pheromones through this organ is 50 times more acute than the equivalent human capability. There is even social etiquette embedded in the ritual. The dominant dog sniffs first. The subordinate waits, allowing another animal full access signals trust and calm confidence. Pulling away or refusing signals fear, insecurity, or hostility. What looks like chaos to us is in fact a precisely structured exchange governed by unspoken rules that neither dog needs to be taught. Eighth, why does your dog lick your face so enthusiastically? You push open the front door after a long day and your dog erupts. Paws on your chest, tongue immediately aimed at your face and your mouth, your nose, your eyelids if you're not careful, with an intensity that suggests it hasn't seen you in years rather than hours. This goes far deeper than simple affection, although love is genuinely part of it. Wolf pups instinctively lick the mouth and muzzle of their mother to trigger the regurgitation of partially digested food, the primary feeding mechanism after weaning. That impulse was encoded into canine behavior so early in their development that it became inseparable from the concept of care, connection, and the safe return of someone important. When your dog licks your face, it is performing an ancient gesture of welcome and submission, acknowledging you as the leader of the family pack. A 2014 study in behavioral processes found that dogs directed significantly more facial licking toward individuals they recognized as socially dominant or emotionally significant. But there is a layer of intelligence beneath the affection. Your skin carries biochemical information: where you've been, who touched you, what you ate, what animals you encountered. Your sweat carries stress hormones. Research from Queen's University Belfast demonstrated that dogs can detect those stress markers in human breath and sweat with accuracy exceeding 90%. This is why your dog licks more intensely when you've had a difficult day. It knows. And the licking itself is not entirely selfless. It releases endorphins in the dog's own brain, soothing their own anxiety about your absence. 9. Why does your dog tilt its head when you talk to it? You are explaining something, probably something serious, in your most authoritative tone. And your dog slowly, deliberately, adorably, cocks its head to one side, ears lifting, eyes locked on your face with what appears to be profound intellectual engagement. Every owner melts instantly, but there are real, functional reasons behind the gesture. A dog's muzzle, particularly in breeds with longer snouts, physically blocks a portion of their lower visual field. Tilting the head shifts the muzzle out of the way, giving them a clearer, wider view of your eyes, eyebrows, and the subtle micro-expressions that dance across your face. Dogs are remarkable readers of human emotion. A 2021 study in animal cognition demonstrated that dogs process human facial expressions using mechanisms strikingly similar to those of human infants, actively using emotional cues to interpret what a person means, not just what they're saying. The tilt also sharpens auditory processing. Changing the angle of the ears improves their ability to pinpoint the source and precise pitch of your voice. A separate study from Eötvös-Loránd University found that dogs considered gifted word learners tilted their heads far more frequently than average, suggesting the gesture reflects genuine cognitive effort, not just an endearing. And then, of course, dogs are also brilliant opportunities. They learn fast that humans respond to the head tilt with an outpouring of affection, treats, and reward a behavior often enough and it becomes a deliberate. Why does your dog whimper and move its legs while sleeping? Your dog is deeply asleep, completely still, and then the twitching begins. Legs pumping in a soft whimper, a muffled bark directed at something only it. You reach toward it, instinct telling you to. But what you're actually witnessing is something extreme. Dogs dream. Not metaphorically, neurologically. A landmark 2001 MIT study demonstrated that animals replay the events of their day during REM sleep, consolidating memory and reinforcing learned behavior. Follow-up research from Harvard confirmed that dogs cycle through the same distinct sleep stages as humans, including the rapid eye movement phase where vivid, emotionally charged dreams occur. The twitching legs almost certainly mean your dog is running in its dream, perhaps chasing the squirrel it spotted that morning, or replaying a moment. The whimpers and soft vocalizations are emotional responses to whatever the dream scenario. The most important advice: do not wake a dog mid-REM. A dog startled out of deep dreaming may snap instinctively, completely disoriented about where it is and what is real, exactly as a human might if yanked violently out of the middle of a vivid nightmare. Puppies and senior dogs spend more time in REM than adult dogs in their prime. And neuroscientists believe, based on 2015 research from the National Sleep Foundation, that dogs dream about their owners specifically, showing heightened REM activity following intense emotional interactions with the people. Why does your dog dig at the floor or couch before lying down? Beyond the familiar circling, many dogs add another layer to the bedtime ritual. Vigorous, determined scratching at whatever surface they've chosen to sleep on. Claws dragging across sofa fabric, paws raking the carpet. The sound is terrible. The reason is, before bedding and central heating existed, wild canines dug into earth to solve real problems. In summer, they burrowed down to reach cooler soil that hadn't absorbed the heat of the sun. In winter, they scraped shallow depressions that caught their own body heat and blocked the wind. A 2019 study in mammalian biology observed wild canids performing this digging behavior before rest more than 80% of the time, regardless of climate, confirming it as a deeply encoded survival strategy rather than a response to actual. The scratching also serves a terrogen. Scent glands in a dog's paw pads deposit unique chemical markers with every stroke, claiming the space and advertising. Pregnant females take this to an extreme, digging with an intensity that can danger. Driven by a powerful nesting instinct so deeply embedded that spayed females who will never give birth still display it. However, when digging escalates to destructive levels in non-pregnant dogs, it usually signals something that needs addressing: anxiety, unspent energy, or chronic understimulation. Why does your dog hide under the bed during thunderstorms? One moment your dog is fearless, confident, utterable. Then the first distant rumble rolls across the sky, and the transformation is instantaneous, trembling, panting, crawling beneath the bed into the farthest, darkest corner it can locate, and refusing to emerge until it is certain the world. This is not weakness. It is a genuine multi-layered fault. Up to 30% of dogs suffer from significant thunderstorm anxiety, and the experience intensifies. Your dog's hearing is so far beyond yours that thunder doesn't just arrive as sound, it arrives as event. A 2015 study from Penn State University confirmed that dogs detect thunder at frequencies completely below human perception, which means the fear response often ignites long before you notice. But sound. Dogs sense atmospheric pressure drops in the hours before a storm arrives. And perhaps strangest of all, their fur accumulates static electricity during electrical storms. Research published in the Journal of Veterinary Behavior showed that this static buildup creates tiny electrical discharges along the dog's coat, felt as sharp, uncomfortable prickling skin. Small, enclosed spaces like the gap beneath, a bedwork as a ground, relieving the static sensation and offering genuine physical comfort. This is why dogs press themselves against bathtubs, crawl under metal-framed furniture, or seek out insulated spaces, and why dogs with thick, long coats suffer more severely, their dense fur trapping more charge than. Why does your dog bring you objects without being asked? You drag yourself through the front door, shoulders heavy with the weight of the day, and your dog is already there. A slipper hanging from its mouth, tail whipping the air. Or it drops a tennis ball at your feet before you've even removed your shoes. Or it drags its empty food bowl toward you a full hour time. What reads as adorably puzzling is actually a gift, often sincerity. In wolf packs, lower-ranking members bring portions of prey to dominant wolves as a deliberate act of loyalty and deference. By presenting something valuable to the leader, a pack member reinforces its relationship to the hierarchy. When your dog brings you its most prized possession, it is performing the exact same ritual. You are the leader. This offering is for you. The behavior also functions as an invitation, a way to initiate contact without uncertainty. Carrying something in the mouth is deeply instinctive, particularly in retrievers and spaniels, which were selectively bred across thousands of years specifically to carry game back to hunters without damaging it. A 2018 genetic study from the University of Edinburgh identified that retrieving behaviors are linked to specific gene clusters that remain fully active in modern domestic breeds. No hunting required. Positive reinforcement accelerates it. Further, you light up when they bring something, you laugh. You engage. They file that information away immediately and deploy it again tomorrow. 14th. Why do dogs smell people's private areas? Here it is. The moment every dog owner has endured. A guest arrives, barely gets through the door, and your dog's nose immediately locates and commits to the most intimate possible greeting known to the human world. There is no stopping it. There is only the apology. But from your dog's perspective, this requires no apology whatsoever. It is simply greeting a human the same way it greets another dog. The groin contains the highest concentration of apocrine sweat glands on the human body. These glands release pheromones and chemical compounds that function to a dog's nose as a comprehensive personal profile. In a single focused sniff, a dog gathers information about gender, emotional state, stress levels, reproductive hormones, general health markers, dietary habits, and even the presence of certain medical conditions. A 2019 chemical analysis study from Georgia Tech confirmed